Hello, hello, guys. Welcome back. I am happy to say that I am finally home. This has been an insane show season. I'm not going to lie. It started in April because Atlanta was early, and that was almost a month on the road. And then I came home for about 10 days, and then I went back to Dallas for another 2 weeks or something. And then came home for that time I was home for almost a month, which was lovely, which I'm not used to. Usually they're back to back, but because the schedule is all wonky. And then off to Vegas for 1 month. I used to say I hate Vegas. I don't hate it as much now. I just, there's something about Vegas that is really challenging to be living in, especially in the summer. Obviously, it was 120 degrees for, I don't know, there was weeks on ends where it was super hot like that. And, you basically live in your car on the way to work and you live in the building, and that's about all you see because there's just no sitting outside. And that to me is like my favorite thing to do is sit outside. But I will say this, I stayed at the Palms place, which is not the Palms Hotel. The Palms place is the one next to it. It's more like little studio apartments. It wasn't the greatest, but they do have balconies. And I will say it was lovely to sit outside when it got a little cooler. I can't even say, I say cooler lightly, but when it got to be sunset dusk, it was lovely to sit out there on the deck on the balcony and just sit and watch the lights. Every Saturday night they would have a fireworks show that ran up and down the whole entire strip, which was amazing to see, especially amazing because when we've had the dogs on 4th of July, any kind of firework action completely just wrecks them, and they are shaking. They're in their little whatever you call them, thunder jackets. They're all drugged up on trazodone. It's not fun, and they're still shaking. So to be able to sit there and watch fireworks was amazing. So I don't hate Vegas as much. It just was a rough and long season. So I'm very happy to be home. A lot of you commented on how much I was able to pack into my car from samples. So samples, we get, every showroom has discontinues every show. So in buildings like Vegas, where it's only open 2 times a year, everyone flies in at the same time. I'm there earlier because I do multiple showrooms, but most of the time, 2 weeks prior to show, all the merchandisers fly in. Everyone pulls out the discos, puts them in the hall, and all of us merchandisers, as well as some buyers, come in. But there are samples that are like half off and 75% off. And I'm not going to lie, like it's my favorite thing to do is shop Creative Co-op, BDIK, and Home Mart. Like those three have amazing things. And because the Mart demands that you have the stuff out of the halls by a certain date, they're like, just take whatever for whatever amount of money. So I came back with so much great stuff. I come back every show with so much great stuff. This time I came back with just an insane amount, and it all fit. But it was like, it was the Clampets. Like it was hilarious. And thank God nothing happened where we had to take everything out of the car and then put everything back in. So got home, I had a couple days to just get resettled and put things away and do laundry. And, the dogs are kind of weirded out by me. They, sadly, they see me so infrequently that when I finally come home after being gone for that long, they both will shun me. Like they're very excited when they see me at first, and then they turn their backs on me and literally like go across the room and do not come near me. I like to say I'm a forceful lover. Like I will pick them up literally and force them and kiss them and hug them. And what's that character in the movie? And she's like, I forget the movie, but there's a character that she's like, I will love you and hug you. That's literally what I'm like, which is insane. But they're all used to me now, so I feel like everybody's kind of settled in. I'm home. They're comfortable. I'm comfortable. The house has been newly decorated. It's lovely. So I figured it's a good time to do a solo. And a couple weeks ago, I got a DM from Misty from 85 Local, and she sent me questions that I should have been able to. Unfortunately, I couldn't answer them before the show because they were questions that were directed to the show that she was going to be attending as well. And it just didn't work out. I wasn't able to do it prior. So I put those out. But what I did love was answering questions from her and then from you guys, because often what happens is when I sit down to do these solos, if I don't have something top of mind, I struggle with what to talk about. And a lot of times I just assume everyone knows like everything and what I'm talking about. I just honestly assume like everyone knows this. Like, why would I talk about it? But apparently everyone doesn't. And it was really fun to answer questions. So last week I put out, when I first got home, send me your questions. I have a good amount of questions this week. I'm going to save some of them for the next solo, but we're going to get to the questions this week right now. So first question is from a store called Serendipity Boutique. And the question is, should expensive clothing be mixed in with moderate price clothing or put them in a designated area? I guess my first question is, how much difference or how expensive are these clothes? Is this apparel? Because I like the mix of a high and low, because I think what happens is when you designate it two separate areas, it becomes like somebody's engaging in racks and going through. And if they don't know this is the expensive area, you go through and you're shopping and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, $500. Okay. And then you start seeing a couple other pieces and then you literally give the customer sticker shock. So I like mixing highs and lows, because I think what happens is if you're there to buy something for yourself. And often a lot of us do not have any idea of what we're going to spend. So when you have mixed rails and racks, you're able to kind of like, and especially this is the thing, this is from Anthro. I wardrobe each rail. So if there's a rail on the floor, ideally that rail, everything on that rail is intermixable and can be worn with each other. You're basically creating outfits on that rail. In smaller stores like my Lucy's, we don't have that. We have one rail to store. So it's really like, it's pretty much everything's on the rail, which means I have to be very cautious about how I curate. So I don't have like this hodgepodge of product on the rail, because there's only one. But when you're in an actual apparel store and you have rails and whatnot, I like to wardrobe each bay or each rail or each fixture, because I think that makes it, again, it becomes an add-on sale. I love this t-shirt. It's only $20. And then you're going down the rail. Okay, the pants are like 150, whatever. Anthro does that as well. Cross merchandises expensive apparel. If you're very high end, I don't know why you would be doing lower priced product. I sort of believe if you are a luxury brand and you have higher end products, I sort of believe that that should be where your price point is. And every now and then have some things, but that's the standard of the store. This is the quality. This is the standard. This is the price point. And again, even if you had less expensive stuff, just shove them over in a corner by themselves, like as a reverse question. I sort of feel like that no one would shop that either. It would be like, oh, this is the cheap stuff, or that must be not great quality, so we're going to keep it over here. So I thoroughly believe mixing price points. And I think, again, if you merchandise it as wardrobing, you create add-on sales, and you also don't create sticker shock. Hope that answered the question. Next question is from Terry963. When should Christmas be put out? It seems like it gets earlier and earlier each year. Yeah, it does. And unfortunately, I know a lot of people, we talked about this on Shelf Talk, and there is the philosophy in some areas of holding off on holiday, because like Vermont and areas in the East where the fall leaves are such a big event, and fall apparel and fall foods and all, you want to run that season as long as you can. So often holiday is rolled out in a more timely manner. But honestly, I feel like now with I call it the Hobby Lobby effect, is that these guys bring in Christmas in July. And I'm grateful for it, because when we're on show setup, and especially when it's the summer shows, that's often a lot of the showrooms, it's the Christmas show. I'm grateful that they have it, because it gives me a place to go get it. But what happens is they get it in so early, they run it at full price. And mind you, they're running things, I think, on a 4.0 markup. So when they knock things down, it's really not half off, but it is half off. But so they run it at regular price for however many weeks, and then they drop it to 40% off. And then they drop it to 50 or 75. Okay, by the time it's 50 or 75, that's when most normal stores are putting out their holiday. And that is relatively early. I my retailers have been putting it out earlier and earlier. And my thought is honestly, I don't want to see Christmas on the floors in September. I think that's too early, but I think certainly you could have sprinklings of it come mid-October. Still have the front table in your front part of the store as fall. And then as you go towards the back, have it be holiday driven. Because that way, at least you have time to sell it. And that's the whole thing, you guys, is that if you wait till the old school rule of Black Friday, of opening your doors and it's magically Christmas, you only have a month maybe of sell-through time before you have to put on sale, or just a month of sell-through time. I don't think that's enough time anymore, especially with as packed as some of our stores are. For me, Lucy's, the store is going to be packed. I have numbers to beat. I know how much we can fit in the store. I want that store so full and so yummy and so abundant, but I know I need time to sell it. And we will be rolling out holiday. I'll give you some dates of some of the people I'm rolling things out. Bristol Farms. It's a very, very, very high-end grocery store. And they also do a huge, huge, huge business in pre-made food and meals. So they smoke turkeys, they have cooked turkeys, they have all the sides, they have all the pies, they have everything. And they start marketing this when we roll out Christmas. And when we rolled it out later, what was happening is I guess they were selling out. So they are rolling out holiday. We're starting to install holiday for them. And mind you, we deck the halls. Like every end cap has lit garland and decor on it. Garland runs the entire exterior of the entire store, from basically the front bakery all the way back to deli, meat market, all of it. But they will now roll out their holiday meals, and not actually the food itself, but to order it. So holiday goes up. Halloween is still at the front. It's very weird, I'm not going to lie, but it is what it is, because you walk in and it's like Christmas from their back, and still in the front is Halloween. But they also at that point put out the table, and they put out the order forms, and they put out the menu items of what it's going to be available. So it's top of mind for their customers. And I think that's super important. Again, also, they want the longest sell time for it as well. So they do the marketing in conjunction with the holiday rollout. For Lucy's, we are going to be rolling out holiday. I think I'm there the first week of November, because I'm doing all of Bristol Farms in California. And then once I'm done with them, then I transition into my retailers. Lit Concept will also be probably the second week of November. And I think Serendipity will also be the second week of November as well. And that still is a little bit late, because I think Serendipity, we used to roll her Christmas out on Halloween. And yeah, you're going to have, absolutely, if you roll things out earlier, you're going to have people that are going to complain. But honestly, they tend to be the first people to shop as well. And I think, again, if you roll it out in groups, so, here's this first holiday group, still opening with fall, you still have that feeling of fall and Halloween, and then as you go back, you have Christmas. But I think that really, honestly, a lot of us need time to sell the holiday before it goes on sale. Lucy's, we will have everything go on sale for Christmas the week before Christmas. I want it out of there. Honestly, yes, I want to eke out as many sales as I can. But honestly, by that last week of before Christmas, I want it out. Like, I don't want to pack up much. I want it gone, because also we start rolling out spring right in January, because they are in Scottsdale and Phoenix, and the snowbirds start coming into town. All of the events that come into town in that part of Arizona all start February, March. So I want to make sure my store is clear, we're done with sale, it's packed up, it's gone. And then we have these beautiful new introductions of the spring concepts. So as much as we may not like it, I think rolling out Christmas earlier is smart. I think it gives you a longer time to sell through, and I think you will end up beating the Hobby Lobby thing, because if not, they're on sale. I think that Target also goes on sale. I think Home Goods also. I mean, Home Goods has parts of Christmas out now, I think, and Hobby Lobby does as well. But I mean, sadly, it is coming earlier and earlier. And I think if you want to eke out as many sales as you can, I think that's the way to do it. So there you go. The next question is from Jade Doppel. I'm saying that wrong. What do you do with the one left items? Okay. If you are going to reorder that one item, I would pull it, reorder it, and put it back on the floor. Or if you are on a POS system that can flag your inventory when it gets to a certain point, like 2 or 3, and if it's something that is a regular item that is what I call bread and butter, and people come to you for that item, you need to make sure that item's on the floor all the time. So a lot of POS systems have a flagging system where if you can figure out, like, you want 2 left on the floor before it flags it to reorder it. And that reorder can be created on your POS system and sent directly to the manufacturer. Not everybody uses their POS system like that. But if you have run down to one item and you're not going to go forward with it, you need to put it on sale. Because what happens is if you, like myself, I'm constantly changing inventory. I have a bit of bread and butter, being Jellycat and a few other handful of items. We don't have a lot of bread and butter items. I like to switch it up because we have a very regular customer that comes in, and we also have a very tourist-driven customer. I always want new things in there. So I'm constantly bringing in new items. And there's a lot of items that will sell down to 1 or 2. If you have multiple stores, you can group them together and send them to one location. We just went through that right now. I went through Zoom calls or FaceTime calls with the stores this week, and I went through the 3 locations, literally every single section, so I have an idea, because I'm in Oregon, the stores are in Arizona. So I could see what was left and where we had onesies and twosies, and where we have onesies and twosies, because we have other stores, I'm going to regroup those and send them to one location so it's full and abundant again. If all the stores only have one, or you only have one store and you have one single items, what happens if you hold on to these items with the thought of, this is going to sell, I know it's going to sell, I'm going to move it over here, I'm going to move it over there. It ends up being a garage sale because you have a lot of things that are single items. And the thing with shoppers and people, when they come in, you want to see that abundance. And when you only have single items on display or on a table, and you have a lot of these single items, the message you're giving your customer is, we're not going forward with this anymore. This is the last one. And it basically devalues, or you've already devalued what you're owning. So my suggestion is, if there's only one, start putting them, create a sale section, or create a box for sale. And then when you do your sale, make sure you bring it back out, because those single items are going to kill your display. And there are times a single item you can sell, like I will, if it's a bigger piece or something, that I can make the focal display, that one single piece, much like apparel, when you have the last single sweater or something like that, you can always put it on a mannequin, and 9 times out of 10 it will sell. But when you are dealing with a store and you have a lot of singles and they're everywhere, and especially when they're small, it just becomes a giant garage sale. So my suggestion, pull it, put it on sale, or if you have multiple stores, to regroup the merchandise and send it to one of the locations, or if you're going to go forward with it, try and stay on top of your reorders so you can get it back in your store before it gets to being that single one piece, or pull it, reorder it, when it all comes back in, reintroduce it on the floor. That is the answer to that question. The Painted Acorn sent in 2 questions. The first one is, what are must-have products and categories for a new store? Okay, this is a hard one because it really depends on what your store is. And who you are if you're a new store, you really need to have a very dialed in idea of what you are going to sell and who you are catering to and what else, what void you are filling in the neighborhood that you're in or the shopping area that you're in or wherever you are. You, one, don't want to recreate something somebody else is doing. You want to fill that void, but you also really need a very good and distinct idea of who you are and what you're doing in your store. So answering that question of what the essential products or categories for a new store is sort of hard. I always say candles always because that kind of sets the tone and the scent, especially if you have home decor or kitchen, because there's a ton of candles that can be used in tabletop. Like I use a lot of patty wax in there. There is a lot of beautiful candles that are for home decor that really kind of add to the season, and whether it be the scent or the vessel or what have you, that's one of those categories that I feel like are. Books, I think honestly, books are essential. They anything from children's books to cookbooks to snarky, fun books. Like when I was with a store called Sweet XO, it's kind of like Lucy's. It's food driven, so it was ice cream, candy, cupcakes, and then the rest was gift. And we had a men's section, we had a women's section, we have kids, and then I had different concepts which were like tabletop. And I had books from the beginning, mostly because what happens is everybody loves a good book, whether it's a humor book, like the small ones that, there's so many great humor books that are small, that are easy pickup items, that are easy price points. Men's gifts are very hard. If you have a men's department, books I always, always, always suggest, because the fact that men's gifts, men really get the shaft. I mean, sadly, there's not a lot of great men's gifts. So there are a ton of incredible books out there for men that are everything from beautiful coffee table books on golf and whatnot, or funny, snarky ones. Kids books, always, 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 always. And I pair them up with plush, and tabletop, always cookbooks. So I guess if I don't know what you're doing, I would say an essential would be books. Oddly, and this is going to sound weird, I don't know, socks. Socks are such an easy sell, and there's so many companies and snarky ones and ones that come with fixtures, and it's easy. You can tuck it over a corner, but if that's not your vibe, I totally understand it. It wasn't my vibe either, but I know they sell, and Lucy's is a gift store. So we have Blue Q, which has always done phenomenal. Blue Q has consistently been the top selling vendor that I have. It's always the snarky stuff, much like I said, like the book. So I have fixtures for, and I'm saying this because I know I hate fixtures. I hate fixtures, but sometimes Blue Q, they are needed and they're easy because I can have a big assortment and I can like just tuck it over in the corner, and it's not part of my concept and not part of my display. It would never be part of my display. It's always going to be something that's pushed over to the side, but they always sell. The socks, oven mitts, dish towels, the snark is always. So socks for men have been another gift for men. The socks have been phenomenal. And because Blue Q has some great snarky socks, as well as Sockatumi, as well as Socksmith, there are some incredible, incredible sock lines, and they're everything from snarky to sports to whatever. And when I don't use them on fixtures and we merchandise the socks back into the men's gifts, I put them in clear jars. I just think they look better like that. I don't need a big fixture near it, but I do have a fixture. And again, it's not saddled up next to my display because I don't like what they look like. But the bottom line is it drives sales, and it is the top vendor of all of my vendors that does the most volume is Blue Q. So I'm trying to think what else, like categories. It's personal care is a hard one. I know a lot of people will tell you need personal care. I have tried to bring in personal care into several different places: Burt's Pharmacy, Sweet XO, and Lucy's. if you're going to do personal care, you need to go deep. You can't just dabble in it because of there's different scents and whatnot. And some people like this scent and some people don't. And if you only have a handful of this, you've made it very limiting for your customers. And I sort of feel like if you have, like, there was a store at Fritz Siegel, my girlfriends Jennifer and Robin Co. owned. It was called Fritz Siegel Sentiments. It was the most amazing personal care shop ever. Like, they had candles, they had personal care, they had lotions, they had perfumery. Like, it was so, when I say abundant, it was so packed and so abundant of every single lip balm you needed and every single lotion, hand lotion you needed. And it was like, it was product driven, but also the packaging had, like, was extremely important of how it looked on the store floor. It was the most amazing store. Like, I would go there and buy, like, I would end up coming without this giant bag of, like, things that, I'm a face care person. I love personal care and, like, lip balms, stuff like that. So I'm a bad person to be asking about this. But for this store, like, it was so abundant and so full. And it was like one of those things where if you do it deep, and that's what people are coming to you for. Beauty supply stores are another, like, there was a couple in Santa Monica. I think there was one on Robertson that was amazing. And again, because they go so deep, that it was just this giant candy store of yummy personal care items. You can't really dabble in it. So I'm cautious of saying that. A lot of people do kids. Same thing, or baby. I don't do baby anymore at Lucy's because same thing. I felt like you needed to go a lot deeper. There's cute onesies and stuff you can do, but if the people there don't like that small little selection, they would sit. Plush is always easy. Plush, you could do kids slash baby, like you could do books, you could do plush, and you could do I don't know, like whatever accessories babies need. I don't have kids, so it's horrible for me to say. But same thing. We had baby. It was just, there wasn't enough of it to create, and the few little stragglers kept. I mean, Jellycat, the wubby things, the stragglers of those have literally have, like, because I only cut babies this last, like, spring. I didn't buy anything into it. We had a little bit of product still left, but watching it, I was like, we're not doing baby. We're just going to do kids and plush and books and all the things. But those stupid little Jellycat wubbies that sell everywhere, I still have those. Those are going into the sale for the end of summer sale that we're setting up, and I just did the walkthrough so I could see what was left. And that's, again, one of those things where it was the last two of these things, and they went from place to place to place to place to place. That's it. They're going, because it was, everyone had seen them already. If they're not going to buy them, they're not going to buy them. So I know I just went terribly off track, but anyway, that's the answer to the best answer I could give you. But really, categories, must have categories, really gets down to what your store is and who you are catering to. The second question that Painted Acorn asked was, how do you create display telling? How do you create a display telling a story? What is the thought and building process? So a lot of my storytelling comes from when I'm at the show. When I'm a buyer, comes from when I'm at the show. I'm actually putting together stories and curating our groups as I walk the show. When I'm working for someone else and I'm going into their story, often I go by seasonal, and often I go by what the product looks like together. So a lot of stores, like, I've gone in and they have great items, but they're things that I think should look better together, or like in 5 different places. And I'll kind of pull things together. I'll get a cart and pull groups together either by color or by theme or by a season, and kind of look at what they look like together. And then I build my story from there. But it really, to me, a lot of the storytelling has to do with what season you're in and what we're looking at as far as a category. And I'm curating groups, so I'm not doing merchandising by category, so to speak. Like, these are all our books, these are all our candles, I like curating a story in a group, and it will start with usually the way it starts is like something that we have the most of or the most prominent. So when I go to Lucy's in the fall, I know the fall groups that I bought from Creative Co-op, which I'm really excited about. And it's some of them were doing a Southwest Christmas, and they did these great felt cactus ornaments and whatnot. So I wrote that. I know that's going to be the star of the show, but I'm also curating it back to products that we have at the store that we're going to move forward with. So Taco Tuesday, the Southwestern Foods, those cookbooks. So I'm curating, I was curating as I'm at the show, and even now as I sit here at my desk with all of these POs surrounding me, I'm still in the back of my head like, okay, that could go with this could go with that. A lot of it changes when I get on site because that's just the way things are. But I like to start with something that's the star of the show and then kind of build off that. I also don't like to have everything under the sun there. So say the display for Southwest Christmas. We will have a big cactus that'll be on the table. We will have a Christmas tree with the cactus ornaments, or I might use the cactus as the Christmas tree. I know I will have Taco Tuesday, but it does not mean everything that's a cactus is going to go in this section. I do like to keep my tabletops a little tighter so it doesn't become a catch-all for everything, but everything that is on that is telling the story of the Southwest Christmas, and I'm also building it so I can have add-on sales. So cookbooks, dish towels. We are going to do some foods. Some of the tabletop pieces, margarita pitchers. So I want to have this tabletop that has a story, but I also, and the most important thing about creating these stories is creating add-on sales. So I'm not going to do candles. I'm not going to do matches. I'm going to leave that for a different part of Christmas. I want this to be very food driven, and it has a Southwest vibe because we're in the Southwest, and that's all that's going to be there. I have another Christmas section that's called Foodie because I name all my Christmas things. So my Foodie is called Deck the Table, and that's going to be some of the mud pie tabletop. That's going to be the more true Christmas feeling. I will probably put in some cookbooks into that. I will have a lot of foods. One of the concepts is breakfast with Santa, and I did Stonewall Kitchen's little giftable pancake mix that comes with a little whisk and a little pancake mix and a little thing of maple syrup. And we have some jams that are going to go back to that, a couple cookbooks to that. And I'm not sure what else is going to go with that. That may be the Santa plates and whatnot. But this year I kind of changed how I was doing my buying. So it was more based on aesthetic this time. I tried to stay away from writing a lot of really overt Christmas, like Santas and snowmans, because what I'm realizing, thanks to the Hobby Lobby effect, is a lot of it ends up going on sale. And I think that unless we're doing some Christmas product that is so amazing that I feel is such a beautiful quality, and it's something that you're not going to see at Hobby Lobby and you're not going to see it at Home Goods, that's where I'll do it. But it is a tricky line that I'm running these days with Christmas. So I'm trying to make Christmas, like everyday items feel like Christmas. So the foodie one will be our cookbooks. I did write Cody Foster ornaments, and I also wrote chive ornaments because they're a different price point. And those will be just food. So I figured that'll be great to do regular cookbooks. Like that one doesn't even have to feel like Christmas. It can just be cookbooks. It can just be the ornaments. So it feels like Christmas. And then I'm going to take gross grain ribbon and do it, tie it around the inside of the cover to the out with the bow in the front so you could still open it up. And I'm tying it around the cover of the book. I know I'm saying that sounds weird, but I'm going to tie the ribbon around the cover of the book. So when you open it, you could still look at the cookbook. And on the top, when you see it, it looks like a Christmas gift. So we're kind of making it. I would love to be able to tie on faux Christmas needles or faux little Like if you have a wreath that's broken down, like you could cut off little pieces of the pine and tie the pine on, or little bells. I think we wrote some bells, so I think I might tie on a little bell. But I want to make my everyday look like Christmas, so our foodie, and that's kind of how I built that story. But I, again, like a lot of it starts at the show floor. I'm curating as I'm walking, and I'm also keeping in mind what is at my stores, what are we going to move forward with, and what do I need to like create stories out of that we already own to make it look new and fresh. So hopefully that answered your question. The next question is from Ella, Lily, etc. Fall trends for home and gift, and what are people looking for? Oh God. Fall trends to me, like there was a lot of beautiful plaids. My favorite fall that I saw was Creative Co-op, and they have all of this pottery. Like I'm really drawn to these earth tone pottery pieces. Again, I don't want to do, I did do their pottery of this. It's a beautiful bowl with a turkey in it. It's very kind of rough hewn feeling. It wasn't polished and perfect, but what I loved about what I was seeing with fall was all of this pottery and stuff with texture. So, the Himalayan candles, I think there was a situation with Himalayan. No one knew if they were coming back. Himalayan's back. And they do the candles in the wood slices and the big wood vessels. And I think those shown with the pottery and shown back to, again, this is where those candles are so important in setting that feeling of scent. Anthropology's been sight, sound, and scent forever. It's what you're looking at and smelling it. That is super important. So I think that for fall, those are some of the important things. I'm also going to start doing stems because I think a lot of people like I use faux flowers and stems or bushes, stems, whatever in the stores. We usually have been buying them and buying them at retail, Hobby Lobby, buying them at different places. And so many people were asking to buy them. So this time I was like, we're going to buy beautiful floral fall florals and we're going to sell them. And then that way, then it's not a prop and it becomes part of the inventory. And honestly, like if they sell all of it, I'm totally okay with that. But I really want that feeling of fall with the visual of the tree limbs and the big tall branches with the oranges and the greens and gourds and whatnot. So we bought those. I will have the display on the table, and then the purchasable product is going to be in bins down below on the table. So I think that to me is somewhat of a trend, but I think for honestly, the pottery was my absolute favorite. The trend, and you're not even asking about this, but the trend I loved the most that we've been seeing the sardine thing for a while. It's still going strong, but now the sardine thing is being mixed with tomatoes or back to lemon. And I know some people did the lemon thing with it last year, but Transpac, oh my God, their spring, again, this is spring, this has nothing to do with fall, but their spring, the tomatoes and their glass platters with the sardines and tomatoes, it is so good. Like that is truly something I was freaking out about. And so I was already writing spring and I'm already excited about that. But I think of like how big fruit and tomatoes and whatnot were for this last summer. Some of our stuff that we still have that I brought in later that not going to have a long enough window to sell through. I'm packing that up and I'm bringing it back out and again, merchandising it back with some of the stuff I bought. But I never felt that, oh my God, I need this feeling with fall stuff. One of the things I do love, and they've been there forever, so it's not something new, is Kayla Lau. God damn, I can never say that line names right. But they have these big, giant tin turkeys. There's two versions. One of the young turkeys where they're kind of skinny and they have long necks, and they're such amazing tabletop pieces. And then these big, fat turkey. And they're they're metal and they're rusted and they have such a good feeling. And I wrote those and the faux florals from them. And then beautiful fall candles from Rosie Rings. That's going to be my fall. That's what I loved. Again, we're going to be mixing it with cookbooks and all this pottery that I brought in from Creative Co-op. But there wasn't anything that I was like, oh my God, I love this. That was spring. So hopefully I helped your question, but it was not the biggest, like, I need this feeling I had at the show. One of the next question, Terry 963, the best product flow for a store. I think I know, but maybe I'm not. Okay, product flow. How I do it now is very much taken from anthropology. Anthro does public to private. So you walk in Anthro and it is always in the summer, it's outdoor entertaining. In this winter, it turns into the ornament shop is up front, but it's the most public space. So eating, drinking, sitting. And then as you go back, there is because I was in one of the big home stores. So we had sections where it was just all of the knobs and all of that. That was, as you got into the store, relatively close. And then it was tabletop and kitchen. And then from there, it became, I think for my store, it ran, I'm just sitting here trying to think about it. It ran from the opening statement, which was garden, whatnot, then the cash register, accessories were always in front of the register, to the home decor items. Coffee table books were in there as well, and then tabletop. And then as you got more and more towards the back or the second floor, in my case, then it became the bedroom. So all the bedding, all the pillows, then it was personal care, and then it was intimates. So I talked about this in one of the podcasts before. It is weird to me, unless you're a lingerie store, it's weird to me to have intimates up front. I feel like if you're shopping them, you don't need to be right in the front, especially if you're kind of self-conscious. And certainly with fitting rooms, they need to be towards the back as well because it's a very intimate space. But with Anthro, what I loved, the personal care and that being back there, they were all like very pretty and feminine feeling, and wasn't where the tabletop had a very distinct feeling. It was just a very pretty, feminine, soft feeling, and that's how you ended. And it was the most private part of the store, was the very, very back. So I still tend to kind of merch my floor like that. The thing with I'm trying to think, I just totally lost track. But with the public to private, having, if you don't sell a lot of those categories, I would say just keep the most intimate products towards the back, even personal care towards the back. I think one of the stories I told, I was in Nordstrom's in Redondo, and you go up the escalators and you go into the women's department. On the left-hand side is the denim, Free People. On the right-hand side is activewear. And literally, when you walked in, they were doing a huge Skims thing. It's still a giant Skims shop at the very top of the escalators. And I think that is the weirdest place to put intimates, because you are literally like getting off the escalator. Everyone is getting off the escalator right into, as you're standing there shopping for bras. And again, I think that some people are self-conscious, like, standing there looking at a bra, and if you are going to hold it up to yourself, it's odd to me to have it at front. So public to private, I think, works the best. If you have apparel, I like apparel strung throughout. And the same thing with apparel is kind of how I merchandise with retail, is that it goes from the fun outdoor, like fun out when it's winter, it's going to be fall outdoors, over like layering pieces. We'll have an accessory shop. And then as you go to the back will be pajamas and robes and whatnot for, Christmas morning. The last question is also from Terry 963, is how to get the most flat surface space in a store. Flat surface space in a store. I'm guessing you're asking about tables. think I sent you a DM and asked if I could get more of a clarification on it, but I didn't have an answer by the time I'm recording this. So, flat spaces, if you are talking about flat tabletop wise, I would say floating tabletops throughout your store. If it's flat like walls, you can float bookcases, and you could use the back as a flat surface if you're going to hang, because a lot of bookcases are like super heavy. I don't like backed bookcases floating in the middle of the store solely because of loss prevention issues. But if you have a store that you can float a bookcase and it's a weighty bookcase, you can put fixtures on the back, actually onto the back of the bookcase, and do like a little moment back there. But if you're asking flat surface, I would say, I'm guessing a tabletop. One thing I do like to do, if you have enough room for a flat surface, which is also kind of like a a moment in your store, is I love to have big platforms built. Anther has a lot of them. When you walk in, they're anywhere from 2 feet off the ground, 3 feet off the ground, big wide pieces painted down, because you can show mannequins on them, and you could lay out apparel flat. You could also put a fixture on them. If you shopped Las Vegas and you wrote warmies, I did those in warmies. We did, because we could story tell and show the fixture on the platform at the same time, and it worked out great. But that's another way of creating flat surfaces. But most of the time it's going to end up being tables. And I'm hoping I'm answering this question right. um, and platforms. I think those are the best ways to create flat surfaces within your stores. And hopefully, like I said, that answered your question. This was all the questions I have. I've saved a couple for the next one, but this is, I love doing this. No question is small enough. I love every single question coming at me. It's been so much fun to go through these and answer them, because this is the stuff that, like I said, I trip up on, and I'm like, some of this I think people knew, and really they don't. And I love answering these questions. So if you guys love this, please let me know. Send me an email. You can DM me, and then send me questions. You can email them, same thing. You can DM me the questions. Sometimes I will run the question blurb on Instagram, but with stories and having it to come down in 24 hours, like, a lot of people don't see them. So if you're listening to this and you have questions, send them my way. It is the funnest way to do a solo. And that's about it. I am getting ready to, like I said, we are heading into the holiday season. I wanted to touch base on this. We are very close. And I know it's only mid-August, Michelle. I can't believe you're talking about holiday, but Halloween is like 89 days away from today, and Christmas is 100 and something days away. That's the actual holiday, not when you set it up. So your holiday planning really starts around now, especially with events. If you are going to do events in your store, and you're going to do food tastings, or you're going to do breakfast with Santa, or whatever the events that you're doing in your store, that you need time to plan. And I would highly suggest, if you're not thinking about it already, you've already done your buys. Maybe you haven't. If you haven't, you really need to get on the ball. But you've already been to the shows. You already have an idea of what you're doing. It's really now about planning to be able to make sure you're eking out as much time as you can for your holiday sales, as well as being able to go into the holiday season as prepared as you can. I know for myself, my planning is starting. It started a little bit before the show, because I've been in show mode. So I've had a chance to see a lot of things as I've been going along. But now I am in complete show mode. Now I am concepting my holidays. Each of my sections has its own name, so I know what product's going in it, so I can relay that to the store. Because again, I do the setups with my stores. I'm in Oregon, they're in Arizona. I fly out, we set up for a week, I fly back home, and then I monitor everything from afar. So I really want to make it as easy for my team as possible. So what we've been doing is having these concepts, and with the products that we've written, I can list out this is where this is going, this is where this is going, this is where this is going. And that takes planning. And it's the last thing I want to do right now. I'm not going to lie, especially coming off of all these months of working in show setup, but it is imperative that I do this now where it's still fresh in my mind and where I have enough time to order things. If I need fixtures, I know I need to get smaller Christmas trees. I'll probably get them at Hobby Lobby, not going to lie, but I want to have enough time to run these lists of I need a tree for this section, I need the fixtures for this, we need risers, or we need some kind of architecture for this section. Like, this is the time for me to plan. So when I get to Arizona and we set up fall, I have everything I need. And it's not this mad panic of like, who's going to go to Hobby Lobby? Who's going to go to Home Goods? We need this, we need that. Like, I want to take all that away, and I want to make it as easy as possible for my team to be able to maintain what we're doing. And by all this planning, they will have the most tools that they need that I could possibly give them from my end to make sure their holiday is successful, as well as so it remains what it's supposed to look like. Because that's the other thing too, is I think a lot of people write all these orders for holiday. There's not really a plan. It all gets to your store. Your team starts putting it out. Maybe you're not there every day. Maybe you have other stores. You get back, you're wondering why did they put this here? Like, clearly it's not supposed to go here. They don't know often. And if you don't have a plan, or you haven't made notes on your POs as far as this is supposed to go with this, hold this, I want this to go with this, or this is going to go back to our taco group that we already have at the store. If you don't have, we don't have these notes and these plans in place, your team is left to do it the whatever way they're going to do it. And often I've talked to more owners than I could say. It creates so much frustration for the owners because they're like, I don't understand why they don't know. Often they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And I think that you giving your team as much as you can, planned, written out, whatever, makes it so much easier. There's a reason why Anthropologie and all these companies start their planning at the beginning of the year, and it carries all year long until holiday. There's a reason why their holidays are so strong. There's a reason. It's because there's a lot of planning and it's done far in advance. You don't need to go do that far, but I highly suggest, if you're listening to this now, to maybe take a look at your POs and kind of get an idea, if you don't already, what you're going to do and how it's going to look. So there you go. That's all from me. Enjoy your afternoon. Thank you so much, as always, for listening. I can't even thank you enough. I can't believe we hit 100,000. I didn't really talk about that. That's something that just blew my mind. It's a goal for every podcaster to hit that number. That's the big number that you want to hit. And from there, it's like magical. But it was always on my radar because I wanted to hit that, but I had no idea how close we were, or how far away. I just kind of chose not to look at it, but we hit it. And it's everything thanks to you guys. I mean, it's mind blowing to me. We are 5+ years into this, and it's all because of you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the solo. Remember, send in your pictures. And as always, love you all. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.